The Tonex pedal from IK Multimedia, Episode 2.
Once again, on the bench, we have the Tonex pedal from IK Multimedia. We've got a Fender Ultra 2 Telecaster. All that goes into Studio 192, and it's recorded on with OBS. Today, we're going to take a look at the editor. At the top of the Tonex editor, to the left, you'll find two tabs, Editor and Librarian. To the right, you'll notice an icon of the Tonex pedal. The green light beside it tells us that it is connected. The Tonex drop-down box, which you cannot see, will allow you to connect other Tonex devices if you have those connected. The little gear to the right of that is the settings. Under settings, you have tempo setup, you have global setup, library, and firmware. You can't see those, but they're there. So I will select global setup because there's a couple of things you need to know in global settings. Under volume, you see input trim. That is where you adjust the input of your guitar into the pedal. If you have hot pickups, you may want to reduce the input trim, and if you have weaker pickups, you may want to increase the input trim. I suggest you select your preset that you're wanting to have sound a certain way, plug your guitar in, and adjust the input trim as you play the guitar to see how it affects that preset. External control is where you will set up your expression pedal. MIDI, you'll set up the MIDI channel, how it functions, and you can turn on and set the clock mode. Tuner, under tuner, you can adjust tuner to where you can mute it so you don't hear it when you're tuning, or where you can hear it while you're tuning, or you can turn it off. And also set the reference for your tuner. Under general, operation mode is where you will turn the interface on if you want to use it to record. In other words, it will send the signal over your USB connection, and you can capture that in your DAW. Under editor, the tab editor, at the top to the left, we have, this is the master volume, same things on your Tonex pedal. You can control the volume here, but understand if you change the volume here, it will not change it on the pedal. And once you touch the pedal, it will go back to, like we'll set it at 9 o'clock, and if I touch it on the pedal, it'll jump back up to 12 o'clock. The bank, the name of the preset, and you can save it here, or you can click the arrow and it will give you a chance to save as, so you can rename the preset rather than overriding the preset you're editing. You have beats per minute here. You can tap or you can type it in. Below that section is the chain section. This is the order that the effects and your amp are in for that preset. The first thing we have on this chain is the noise gate. You can turn the noise gate on or off. You can set the threshold. That's at what point the gate kicks in and releases. You can set the release, which is the speed, how quickly it closes the gate and how quickly it opens the gate, or the depth, which is how much it reduces the sound or the noise by. You can change the placement by clicking this button, and it will put it after the amp or before the amp. Under the amp, or as they call it, the tone model amp, you can turn it on or off. If it's an amp you're modeling, then of course it'll be on. You can adjust the gain. You can adjust the bass. You can adjust the point in the bass range that you're adjusting, raising and lowering. You can adjust the mid-range. You can adjust the point in the middle of the mid-range that you're adjusting. You can also play with the highs of the mid-range. You can boost those with the Q. You can set the treble, and you can also adjust the center point of the treble, which is the point which you're raising or lowering. This also has a pre-post. I'm not exactly sure what pre-post does, but apparently it we'll just have to play around with that to find out someday. After that, we have presence and depth. Presence and depth are a lot like what I used to use years ago, and it was a BBE sonic maximizer. The presence will allow you to bring out the highs, a little bit more, and you can round off. The depth allows you to round off and give more shape to the lower ends of the frequencies. The mix allows you to, in other words, you can run this signal through this pedal, and if you turn off the amp, of course, you're going to get the raw guitar sound. But the mix allows you to back that off to where part of the raw sound goes through, and then part of it goes through the amp. The model volume. This would be like the volume on an amplifier that you have a microphone on. You wouldn't change the microphone amplifier, but you might change the PA volume. So the master volume on your pedal is like the PA volume that's your output to the crowd, and the model volume would be just raising or lowering the volume of the amplifier which you're miking. The next thing is the cabinet. Under cabinet, you've got tone models, and there are a lot of tone models, and I'm not sure, the list won't drop down, but there are a lot of tone models, and each preset that you download or purchase from someone is going to have a cabinet attached to it. You can use custom IRs, and you can also create a virtual IR here, which will allow you to select the microphones. You can, how much of one mic you want to use compared to the other. You can position the microphones. You can move it in the center of the cone, out to the edge of the cone. You can change the distance from the speaker itself, in close or out farther away. You can adjust the resonance. The next thing we have is the compressor. The compressor, you can turn it on or off. You can set the threshold. That's where the gate kicks in or releases. The gain, this allows you to make up volume because the compressor is going to lower volume when it gets to a certain point. So if that affects your overall volume, the gain allows you to push that back up. The attack is how quickly the gate will open or close. You can change the location of the compressor. Pre is in front of the amp. Post is after the amp. Modulation. There are 5 types of modulation. You have chorus, tremolo, phaser, flanger, and rotary. Each of these has their own controls. They all have a sync, which will allow you to sync the pedal or this effect to the beats per minute. You can also adjust the location of the modulation. You can place it after the amp or before the amp. The delay You can turn it on or off. You have digital delay or tape delay. You have normal and ping pong. Ping pong has become very popular these days. You can adjust the time, you can adjust the feedback, and you can adjust the mix. In other words, how much of the signal do you want the delay to be on? You can also set this to sync with the beats per minute. You can also change the location from after the amp to before the amp. The reverb, you can turn the reverb on or off. You can select plate, spring 1, spring 2, spring 3, spring 4, and room. You can adjust the time, the pre-delay, the color, and the mix. And I believe these are all similar. You may have different adjustments for some of these. Most share those 4. You can also place this last, which means it'll be at the end of the chain, or post, which post is going to place this. It's going to be after the cabinet, and it looks like after the compressor. The librarian tab takes us to a page where you can save your presets, your tone models. The left-hand column shows you what's on your pedal. Okay. Right-hand column shows you all the presets you have saved on your computer in this library. All the tone models you have. Now, the tone models are the raw amp sounds, so you may use the same tone model in several different presets. ToneNet is an online cloud service or on Tonex service that they allow you to go to. You can upload your presets, your tone models, or you can download someone else's. The little filter signal here to the left, and this took me a while to find this. Not the filters, but I was looking for directories, and they're considering a directory a filter, I guess. So here, if you create directories, when you save your presets that you download or purchase online and download, if you want to place those in a directory, you can do so, and we'll learn that at a later point. But this is where you will find those directories, and if you click on the directory, it brings up just the presets within that directory. You also have the same for tone model. You can create directories for tone models. At the top, to load a preset into your pedal, let's go to a preset. Simply go find the preset you want to load, drag it over to the bank you want to place it in, let it go on top of that, and then it will prompt you to overwrite. Make sure you have the preset that was there that came with the pedal or whatever. Make sure you've got it backed up or that it's in your library on the computer before you overwrite it. Overwrite, and it will sync the computer to your pedal, and that patch is here. All right, that is it for the Tonex editor, and I will see you in the next video.